Warning: the following content may not be suitable for all listeners and contains crude humor that may be offensive to some. Listener discretion is advised. This is Satire is Not Dead. Hello everybody, I am Harvey, your host, and we're back with more personal stories, satirical articles, and some real news that could be mistaken for satire. This program is brought to you by Cinescape Media. You can learn more about this program and their other programs by visiting their website, cinescape.media. This week is going to be pretty much off the cuff. The COVID situation is escalating again. And, you know, I quit watching television a long time ago. Quit watching cable network, and I stream entertainment when I want it. Because if you want news, just look at your social media. I mean, if it's really important, it'll come up, and you can watch the feed, the video, the news article, what the fuck ever you want to call it. And especially today, it's Tuesday, August, I don't know, 3rd or 4th, but whatever day the fireworks factory in Beirut exploded. Holy shit. It just goes to show you can see whatever you need to without having television. Now, what I'm going to talk about first is something that really has been a bug for me, a bug up my backside, is this COVID issue. I know that things are not what they seem. I know they're fudging their numbers. I know they're not reporting what they should be reporting. I know that it's not as rampant as they make it out to be. But, honestly, I know people on both sides of the spectrum of this whole, they have confirmed that it's inside knowledge that the COVID numbers are being jacked around with. One of the most obvious, not obvious, but blatant manipulation of numbers is if a person this is nothing new, so don't, I'm not acting like I just found something out. If a person dies in an automobile accident and dies from the trauma of the accident, during the autopsy, they test the body for coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it. If they test positive, it's recorded as a COVID death. So I say that to illustrate that I'm not just being one-sided on this thing. And the reason for me bringing this up is something that really pisses me off on social media are these fucking dummies, these stupid. I don't believe they're always American citizens on Facebook, which is kind of a duh, no shit, Sherlock. But I decided to go on Google and put a real simple search in COVID-19 global statistics, and they have an interactive map, which is kind of creepy because it brings up a map relative to where you are at the time you did the search, and you can hover your pointer over where you live and see what the numbers are. One of the things they don't they have reported cases and deaths, and in the middle of that there are there's a stat labeled recovered. None of them have a number on that, specifically in an area, relative to where you are. So, I'm going to just read to you the stats as of this day in the United States of America. Confirmed cases, 4.85 million. And below that they have plus 41,963. I'm assuming that means plus or minus. I don't know. I don't know what these freaking geeks do. Recovered 2.37 million. That's about half. Deaths 159,000. Okay, so this whole public panic and do this, do that is I'm not going to say it's bullshit. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I understand things are not what they seem. Now, as far as social media goes, I'll come across these posts, and if you just so happen to be the one, and I doubt it, I seriously doubt the person who put this on Facebook is going to be listening to this, but they put a chart up that anyone could build. I mean, you use Microsoft Paint to do, if you're creative enough, you can put some pretty convincing stuff on social media. Someone put on Facebook a chart labeled from the CDC. At the top of the chart, total tested 47,313,367. Below that, total negative tests 42,942,504. Below that, the negative rate is 90.76%. Below that, total total positive tests 4,370,863. The positive rate below that states 9.24%. Okay, so what this dumbbell has built into his chart reads total deaths 139,659 total deaths. That is a death rate of, and so this is what is kind of a tell of how people are not up to speed on the English language, even if they're American. Where it lists the death rate in parentheses, it has as percentage of positive tests 3.20%. In the parentheses, instead of writing out the word percentage, they type the percent sign with AGE on the end of it. Give me a fucking break. Below that, the death rate as percentage of total tests, 0.30%. Below that, the population of the United States of America is 331 million people. And actually, I know rounding up and rounding down, that's fine. It's not a big deal. Is 328.2 people. And that's okay. I can live with that. The mortality rate for this virus is 0.04%. That's in the United States, according to this chart. And below that, they list the chance of not dying from COVID-19 is 99.96%, which is not exactly the way a statement would be written coming out of a goddamn laboratory. The chance of not dying COVID, it's just so freaking dumb. When I read these charts, these fucking images, these things on social media, what pisses me off is because this is what it was written at the bottom of the chart. In case you still weren't sure, with an ellipsis on the end of that statement. Excuse me. I know this fucking dummy, this jerk off, this I hope you're listening retard that put this chart up is listening. The statement, in case you still weren't sure, they put at the beginning of that statement, in case, as one word. Either you're not American or you're so stupid that you slept through grammar, basic grammar, that you don't understand that in case is two words. And I know, people that know me, and I really am. I'm a grammar Nazi. At the end of that statement, they put an ellipsis. An ellipsis is properly written. It reads, in case you still weren't sure. Should be a space between the word sure, a period, a space, a period, a space, a period. And is that, really important? No. But it just tells me that whatever stupid ass put this thing together doesn't understand American English. And if you're American, shame on you. Shame on you. Now, the point of all this, me bringing this up is, let's talk about drilling down to what I refer to as localized statistics. And it doesn't even have to be statistics. Let's just think locally. Think about where you live. Get off your fat, lazy ass and find out what's happening there. Tell me, please, email me, email Synescape, put it in the comments. I don't care what's happening where you are. Because in the past, I've had major medical events. And no, it's not what you think. Wasn't a big fat walrus who had a heart attack. It was something unrelated to that. Think about this. Anyone who dies during the flu season, I'm assuming they'll die in the hospital. And you have family members around you. Even if you're in ICU, you have at least one family member, because of the rules of ICU, there to comfort you, possibly hold your hand, possibly talk to you as you pass away. Because of the the purported nature of this virus, and this is knowledge I have, that I have family in the medical industry. There is a specific hospital, and I'm not going to say names because I don't have permission to use their names and permission to use the names of the hospital. And I know I'm the biggest, stickler for sources, but we're at a point now where we all know something's happening and it's not what it seems. So fair enough, I get it. So, throwing all that aside, let's say you're infected. You have this COVID-19. You go critical. You have to go into the hospital. You get to the point where you need to be admitted into ICU. Okay. Furthermore, you get to the point in ICU where you need to be intubated, which means they have to put you on a ventilator, which is a air hose shoved down your airway to breathe for you. And so, because of the nature of this virus, your family can't be there with you. At this point, I think maybe if there's something non-COVID related, you have one family member that can be with you in the ER. But once you go in, if you're COVID-19, coronavirus, whatever, you're going in alone. And the point I'm trying to make is these fucking assholes, these piece of just shitty dummies who don't know the difference between an image and actual data. And even if you do, I don't care. Just stop this shit and think. Think for yourself. The majority of these people that put these charts out there, these numbers haven't been directly affected by this. And I'm not trying for a boo-hoo moment. Boo-hoo. Personally, I know my family knows, at this point, 2 people have died from this. And maybe every year, 2 people that we know die from the flu. Influenza. I don't know. But this is the one that's on our radar and that's being shoved in our face and everybody's shitting their pants over. And they're making it out to be, like we're all being, it's not a big deal. Well, I'll tell you what, I know someone in the medical profession, and at one time they worked at a facility where it was the number 3 hospital group in Louisiana. They started out with one ICU floor dedicated to COVID-19. When you were admitted, you would go into the hospital on the, whatever the non-ICU floor is. If you got worse, you got to the point you needed ICU care, they would admit you to the ICU. And it escalated. This was in the beginning of when it really peaked. This one hospital, ended up with 4 floors of ICU. They started out with 1. And the ICU wards would range from 10 to 20 beds per ward. Okay. So let's say, just to be conservative, there were 40 beds of ICU patients. The mortality rate of people that went into ICU that had to be ventilated was 87%. Nationwide and globally, it's not a big number. But here's my position on it. If you're admitted into the hospital with this, you're going in alone. And if you're some, young person or someone fortunate enough to never have gone through a major medical event, you don't know what this is like. When you're admitted for COVID-19 and you end up in the ICU, what happens is you're going in alone, completely alone. No one there to hold your hand. No one there to say, I love you. We're with you. We'll be here when you wake up. Nothing. If you're going into ICU for COVID-19, what happens is, according to what I've read, you're put into a chemically induced coma. And, if you don't know, if you're so ignorant that, well, that's not too bad, kiss my ass. It is bad. Because by law, when any medical procedure is done, they have to explain it to you in great detail what's about to happen. So don't give me this shit about, well, cool, you're being doped up. And yes, you are. But before that, you're being explained to in great detail of what they have to do to you. And it's a law. So let's say you've never had a major medical event. You go into you start having respiratory issues because of COVID-19, and you're, 30 years old, and you're one of these big pussies who think it's no big deal. And then you end up going to the ER, and then you end up in admitted, and then you end up going to ICU because you're in respiratory distress. And then you end up so bad that they have to start telling you the rules of what they're about to do. And then they start injecting you with these whatever sedatives, I don't know, to put you into a chemically induced coma. And I don't know if they do that before or after they intubate you, but I've been intubated before. It's a nightmare. I've never felt so claustrophobic from the inside out as I did when I was intubated. And honestly, to be fair, I wasn't conscious when they intubated me, but I was conscious when I woke up from surgery, and I was still intubated. So, these people, the ones that are going in alone with no family member to hold their hand, no one to say, I love you, we're here, no one to say goodbye, no one to say anything. They're going into ICU with these nurses who are overworked and honestly underpaid, undercompensated. And this is hard for me. I know it's just really brings back a lot of memories, but for you that say 0.04% is not that bad, you tell that to the person who is under these conditions, who's about to go get a fucking garden hose fed down their airway and have a machine breathe for them. And just for the sake of argument, nationwide, let's say the mortality rate of people on intubation for COVID is 75%. If the nurses would tell them, oh, don't worry about it, it's only it's 0.04% mortality rate, you'll be fine. Tell me that doesn't, if that would comfort them. So take your global and your national statistics and, shove them. We're in the middle of something. What the motivation is, I don't care. I don't even know. But it pisses me off when these retards, and to say that, the people who put this bullshit on social media is retarded is an insult to retards. Legitimately retarded people. Because chances are they haven't been affected by it. And if you know someone who has died from this, and you put this chart on social media, then you have no soul. And I'm a person who has a very dark and what you call gallows sense of humor. And when I see this shit, knowing what I know, knowing the people that I know, it makes me want to go find them and say, you have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea this stupid image, probably from fucking India somewhere, of some asshole who wants to get a bunch of shares, just throws this stuff out there because of the fucking fact that in case to them is one word. I'm sorry, but it's infuriating. Every election year, every presidential election year gets worse. It gets worse and worse. There's always some fucking thing that comes up. And I'm a God-fearing person. I'm not the kind of like karma, tempt fate, whatever. And if that's what you believe in, good, that's okay. But my thing is, in this country, everyone needs to understand that this government, the United States government, all the politicians, I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, fucking Catarian, whatever they make up next is out for your own good. You're deluded. They're not looking out for us. They're not looking out for us. And it burns me that I'm not saying no one, but a lot of people just take the bait and say that Donald Trump is Hitler, and the fucking presidency before that, it was President Obama. Obama's Hitler, And before that, it was Bush is Hitler. Do you see the trend here? We're being freaking played against one another until we all realize that. Things are not going to get better because we're all going to be voting according to what we feel. I support Donald Trump, but I still believe that the system is designed to play us against each other. And you need to realize that, because it keeps us distracted from the shit that's really going on that's not good. And I'm a Republican. I'm conservative. And even I can see that the system, by design, is bad. Long gone are the days of representatives, congressmen, you fucking fill in the blank with the title you want, that are looking out for you. Because by the time they get to Washington, they are so compromised by the favors they have to return, they spend their entire term returning these favors, and the promises they made are gone. They don't have time. My whole point and purpose of this podcast this week is, I had some bitching and griping to do, but if I just wish people could step away from social media, step away from the television, step away from the radio, and just get a wide, objective look at what's happening and how we're being played against each other. And maybe this is my age speaking, I don't know, but I'm beyond, party affiliation, and I'm beyond whatever belief system you are, and I'm beyond whatever group you belong to. If one person that listens to this, just one, does what I'm saying, back up, just back off and look, take a good objective look, that's, to me, a success. Because that one person will then tell another person, and that person will tell another person, hopefully. But it's just, this has been going on for decades. And it's time for, if everyone, if enough of the American people would just see things for what they are, that's when we have, that's when we would have real revolution in this country. So that's all the time I have this week, and I'd like to thank the guys at Cinescape Media for providing me the platform, and I appreciate it. And I encourage you to visit cinescape.media. And I've also been listening to a podcast every week by the Paranormal Patriot, and it's hosted by Tom Velasquez. And so look him up as well, but also, look up the guys on our cinescape.media website. They do a great job. There's a lot of good stuff there to listen to. So I will talk to you again next week.